Let's take the antiderivative of f of x equals negative x squared plus 4x plus 6. So to do this, big F of x equals negative x cubed over 3 plus 4 times x squared over 2 plus 6x plus c. Now we can cancel some things out here and simplify, and we still have negative x cubed over 3. This simplifies to 2x squared plus 6x plus c. What we have here is the fundamental theorem of calculus. Sounds fancy, right? It's exciting. So basically what we're going to do is define this integral as a definite integral. What we dealt with yesterday was indefinite integrals. And what it means is the integral here from a to b of f of x. Essentially you take the antiderivative of b and plug in b, and then you take the antiderivative and plug in a, you subtract those two, and that will give you the value. Now, specifically when this becomes important is this will show you the area underneath a curve. So when you do a definite integral like this, you'll get the area underneath a curve. Also, a lot of the times you'll see people write the just regular integral like this, big F of x, and then they'll put a bar b, a. What it means is plug in b, plug in a, and subtract them. So this problem is asking us to evaluate the definite integral between 0 and 4 of, the same function from the brain starter. And what that'll show us on this graph here is it'll show you the area underneath this curve from 0 to 4. If we wanted to find the area from 1 to 4, well, we do the same thing, except over here where it says 0, we'll just make that a 1. So, using the brain starter, our integral for negative x squared plus 4x plus 6 was right there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to evaluate it between 0 and 4. So here's the general notation you'll see is this just means now we have to evaluate it between 4 and 0 and subtract those two. Now, since we're essentially subtracting this minus this, but we plug in values for these things, these c's are going to cancel out. So when you take a definite integral, the c's actually are not that important. So first, we'll plug in the 4. Negative 4 cubed over 3 plus 2 times 4 squared plus 6 times 4. Then you're going to subtract the 0 stuff. So negative 0 cubed over 3 plus 2 times 0 squared plus 6 times 0. When we plug these values in, the left part of it goes to 34.666666, repeating, minus, and since all these are zeros, we got really lucky this time, and it'll just be a 0. But remember, you should evaluate this thing first and then subtract it so you don't get confused by the signs. So, minus 0, that just stays the same. Our answer is 34 2/3. And that is the area underneath this curve right here. 34.666666 square units.